Hi, I'm History Hero, and today I'm going to be running your history lesson. Just wait a second, I'm going to my seat. Sit. Hi, so I'm History Hero, and as I said before, I'm going to be running a history lesson for you today. Today we're going to be talking about the space race and what drove the space race. After World War II drew to a close in the mid-20th century, a new conflict began, known as the Cold War. This battle pitted the world's two greatest powers, the democratic, capitalist United States, and the communist Soviet Union, against each other. Beginning in the late 1950s, space would become another dramatic arena for this competition, as each side sought to prove the superiority of its technology, its military firepower, and by extension, its political economic system. As Cold War tensions rose, so did space exploration. On October 4, 1957, a Soviet R-7 intercontinental ballistic missile launched by the name Sputnik, Russian for traveler, was the world's first artificial satellite and the first man-made object to be placed into Earth's orbit. As the news of this Russian success hit America, it was a slightly unpleasant surprise for Americans. In the United States, space was seen as the next frontier, a logical extension of the grand American tradition of exploration, and it was crucial that they did not lose too much ground on the Soviets. Following this, there was an exciting year for the US. In 1958, it launched its own satellite, Explorer 1, designed by the US Army under the direction of rocket scientist Wernher von Braun. That same year, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a public order creating the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, more commonly known as NASA. However, in 1959, we saw the Soviet space program take another step forward with the launch of Luna 2, the first space probe to hit the moon. And in April 1961, the Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first person to orbit Earth, traveling in a capsule-like spacecraft, Vostok 1.
Russia scores a dramatic victory in the exploration of space with the launching of the first rocket to hit the moon. An historic scientific feat simulated in these scenes, which show the course of the multi-stage rocket carrying the 858-pound Lunik.
NASA quickly followed suit and designed their own orbital rocket. On May 5th, astronaut Alan Shepard became the first American in space, although this was not orbit. Also, later that year, President John F. Kennedy made a bold public claim.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
In February 1962, John Glenn became the first astronaut to orbit Earth, and by the end of that year, the foundations of NASA lunar landing program, dubbed Project Apollo, were in place. At the end of that decade,
On July 20th,
following JFK's
1969,
promise, something
man went to
indeed
the moon.
very special did happen.
This was his ship of discovery, the lunar module Eagle. In it were two men, their names Armstrong and Aldrin, two-thirds of the most fantastic team completed by Collins. Pathé News presents this historic film of the space age through a new process, Technicolor Vidtronics. As it happened, video signals were flashed over 250,000 miles of space for processing onto film.
Surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers.
I'm History Hero, and thanks for watching my lesson on the space race.